we need to turn around on their reactions. Let's match to that one.
The scene is about the gag, don't you think?
It's always been a matter of stumbling across something, hearing something from somebody, hearing a story, just, you know, a spark goes off. I just stumbled across Mark's article on seeing a sex surrogate.
His therapist suggested I could work with a sex surrogate who would be sensitive to my unusual needs.
In my heart, I feel like he'll give you a free pass on this one.
So it was really a matter of just tripping over something that I'd never knew existed, and a feeling that if only I could do on film what he'd just done to me with his writing, then that was something useful.
Okay, thank you.
We would do a take, and Ben would get up from Video Village and walk to the set, which was sometime a great distance, to give me a note. And the only thing I suddenly realized was, well, you cad, get up and go to him. And so it took me about quarter of the way through that I realized, because it's not in play that Ben uses two crutches or that he had polio. It's just not a part of the equation.
His story is great. He kind of makes the movie. And just the fact that he's disabled. Not that that's a big deal, but you read a movie about someone who's disabled, you don't know who the director is. It makes it so much more interesting. And by the way, no one told me he was disabled.
Explain to me so that I really understand exactly what the iron lung is for.
That keeps me breathing. I could spend a few hours outside of it with my portable respirator, depending on how I feel.
More than anything, I was working with a writer-director, so, you know, the trust I had in him came mostly from the fact that he had created this beautiful piece of writing, and having been in movies for a while now, you know, and tried to write a couple on my own, I know just what an incredible miracle it is to actually create something new and true and funny and moving. So, you know, my confidence in him came from the fact that he had written this beautiful thing.
So what should we talk about?
No, we don't have to do much talking. I just wanted to be seen with you in public.
I just loved the script. I loved the story. I loved the character. I loved Ben Lewin and his wife Judy. It was just such a terrific group of people.
Usually, if it's a family affair, it's a home movie. But it wasn't in this case, and I'd worked with my wife before. We've done that magic trick, and I'd never worked with my daughter before, and I thought, well, that was a real bonus.
I grew up around them making films, and since I was already in the industry, it just seemed like the right thing to do. You know, and I had a lot of passion for the project. I love the film and I love the story.
And our youngest daughter is in the movie, and our son was very much part of the development of the music. You know, he really helped me find a level that I wanted the music to work at.
And it brought us all together as a family in a really wonderfully sort of cohesive way.
I was very sad when we stopped shooting. I thought, it's the only time I've ever been able to say that shooting a movie was really fun.
Is it possible for me to know a woman in the biblical sense?
Are we talking about sexual intercourse?
I think so.
Outside marriage?
Yeah, probably getting close to my use-by date.
The beginning to me is always the script. I began with that. I felt like bring the humor wherever we could. It's not a comedy in the classic Greek sense of the word, I guess, but it's got a lot of humor.
So we'll talk for a while to begin with, and then when you're ready, we'll start doing some body awareness exercises.
Holy Mother of God, what are body awareness exercises?
Being really scared about something and wanting something really badly, having those two be the case at the same time is funny, and that's what John's character is going through.
Forget the psychobabble. I grew up on a farm. Even the animals need a couple of tries to get it right. Don't worry about the technical stuff. Be romantic. John Hawkes is a very wonderful and, more importantly, skilled actor. And one of the things that I love that he did in this role is that he did what was required and then he stopped. And John did it beautifully and put his attention where it belonged, which was acting with us. And even though he could only move his head, he acted me off the screen.
Father,
Yeah.
I think I need a hug.
There you go.
I said that if I played the role, I was interested in trying to do it without a body double. And I think Ben was trusting enough to feel that I could pull that off.
I thought that it really went way beyond what an actor normally does to get into the part. I thought that he really had kind of found some bonding with the late Mark O'Brien and maybe felt he was doing it for him.
I made my own mouth stick out of a piece of dowel rod and a pencil eraser and formed the end so I could hold it in my mouth. And so for weeks prior, I learned to turn pages of a book, to type, to do basic things that he was able to do. We had to find something that made my spine curve in the proper way, so we ended up with a soccer-sized foam ball with duct tape around it. It was pretty hard, but I would put it under the left side of my spine midway down my back, and that would make the curve. There's no special effects makeup or no CGI or anything like that. It's just me and the torture ball.
He took his shirt off and I saw this sort of white skin and these ribs sticking out, and John's quite slender, and I thought, absolutely perfect.
Do you have any experience?
No, none at all.
That sounds perfect.
When he wasn't on camera, he would stay in that position with that thing under his back, and he never made it easy on himself. So that made it even more emotional for me.
I tried to kind of forget all of it ultimately when the camera rolled and forget the accent. I just tried to have it inside of me enough and try not to move the rest of my body.
Want a spritz?
Yes, of course I would. I have a good feeling about today. Very good feeling.
Good. And John, he just did this thing with his voice, and it made him really endearing. It's completely authentic and genuine.
Try and think about something else. Baseball, for example. That's what they usually tell boys to do.
Baseball. You mean like hope I make it to second base? That's helpful.
From the moment we shot a frame of footage of him, I literally, we all said, oh my God, this is something really special.
You wonder, how do you play that role only moving your head 90 degrees? But when you've got such great actors around you and a great script, it was a privilege to try to get this story right and to play this character.
There's just one more thing I want to tell you. I'm not a virgin.
Hi, Mark O'Brien.
Your money's on the desk over there.
Yes, it is.
That was the wrong way to start off.
It really was. Shall we start again? There's this thing called a sex surrogate who will not talk to you about sex, but will actually come and have sex with you and teach you what you are capable of doing. And that's me. I'm not a prostitute. You don't have to pay me up front. And there's a limit to the number of sessions we can have. The limit is 6.
The sex surrogate thing, I think, was a phenomenon that grew out of Masters and Johnson and that whole period of sexual discovery, which has kind of slackened off a bit now, unfortunately. I think we're now back in the sexual dark ages.
This therapist suggested I could work with a sexual specialist. Have sex with a person known as a sex surrogate who would be sensitive to my unusual needs.
When I met Cheryl, Mark's real-life sex surrogate, that really transformed the whole story from what could have been a biopic into a relationship movie.
It's so much more than just being sexual. There are we're coaching, we're teaching people communication skills, relaxation skills, touching skills. And it's not techniques, it's more just showing them ways to do this in a wonderfully easy way where they might feel fearful.
Is this your place?
No, it's a friend's. The only bedroom furniture I have at my place is an iron lung.
Helen got it from the word go. It was obvious that this was not a movie where we could be coy and, choreograph everything, that it was really a question of going for it.
Shall we get undressed?
Sure.
It was scary and exciting all at once, everything about it. Speaking to the real Cheryl was really helpful. That was probably the time when I went, oh, I got excited. Her accent excited me. Her kind of positive extroversion excited me. And her sort of way that she saw the world, and sex in particular. I just thought, I haven't met that person before. I'd like to play that person. Do you have any areas of unusual sensitivity? Any parts of your body you don't want me to touch?
I have normal sensitivity all over. I'm not paralyzed exactly. It's just my muscles don't work too good. But you can touch me anywhere.
That's great.
Cheryl Cohen-Greene, who is portrayed in the film by Helen Hunt, was the surrogate that Mark learned from. And I got to speak to her. She was terrific, a wealth of information, very encouraging.
Helen's performance is just jaw-dropping. She is so unself-conscious about what she's doing. And she took her cue from Cheryl. And what a breath of fresh air.
You're gonna start to listen to signals from your body. That way you'll be able to have some control.
Oh, God.
I understand even among non-believers, the most common expression of sexual ecstasy is, oh, God.
Cheryl had a powerful interest in making sure that this experience was a positive one for Mark.
First session, he was extremely nervous.
Let's forget about it.
Mark, do you want to see this woman or not?
No.
Oh, it's too late.
What floor?
18th floor.
Nobody I know has ever had a movie made about their lives, and have somebody like Helen Hunt play you. Wow, that is spectacular.
What kind of therapist is she?
She's a sex therapist. Today they're working on simultaneous orgasm.
What's that?
She's given him a pretty beautiful, selfless gift.
What is she like, Cheryl?
She's the most wonderful person on the planet. Is it possible for me to know a woman in the biblical sense?
It's a true story about a guy in an iron lung who in his mid-30s decides that he no longer wants to be a virgin.
There are people called sex surrogates.
Oh?
With the help of his therapist and the guidance of his priest.
Are we talking about sexual intercourse?
I think so.
Outside marriage?
My penis speaks to me, Father Brendan.
He contacts a sex surrogate.
Hi, Mark O'Brien.
Who is at the same time like a regular soccer mom.
Your money's on the desk over there.
Yes, it is.
That was the wrong way to start off.
It really was. Shall we start again?
And the story is about his little journey to manhood and their fascinating relationship.
Go for it.
Huh?
Go for it.
Mark had a really great sense of humor. It was important to me in the film to find that wherever we could, and to fight sentiment.
And how do you feel right now?
Out of my league.
I meant your breathing.
Oh, fine. In fact, better than usual.
That's great. Shall we get undressed? And I think what this character I got to play does is walks in and goes, wow, okay, this is a really challenging body. Let's go. So I think she actually does see him. She actually does see him and really truly wants the best for him. He yelled a lot when I took off his shirt, but I think more out of fear than pain.
Mark wasn't paralyzed, but he had no movement really below his neck, other than his penis, which seemed to work okay. Mm-hmm.
You're gonna start to listen to signals from your body. That way you'll be able to have some control.
Oh, God. I did it again.
A major part of being a human being is love and sex. and he wanted to know that.
He was at the mercy of anybody who touched him. He couldn't participate in that. In this, I'm playing someone who's sort of fiercely teaching him how to be an advocate for himself.
I'm really sorry.
Stop being sorry. And stop reading those stupid sex manuals.
This is about who the real Mark O'Brien was. I really wanted everyone involved to feel this was as close as you could get to Mark's experience.
To just begin to hopefully think of Mark as a human being and not as a guy laid out with 90% movement, of his head. He's more than that.
She adores me, and I can get pretty kinky.
Go on.
I think it's a movie about everybody's God-given right to have pleasure. And that to me is refreshing and exciting.
What sort of therapy are they doing?
They're having sex.
It's a fellow who was born with a raw hand, who made the most out of it, and he meets these lovely people along the way, and it makes you smile.
Yeah, maybe. Yes, it's good.
Nice shirt.
Thanks.
Love is a journey.
I like it already.
That's it. That's all I've got.
Let me touch you with my words, for my hands lie limp as empty gloves.
Mark O'Brien, from an early age, was in an iron lung, but he had a razor-sharp mind, and so he ended up going to Berkeley, and he became a successful writer and poet, and a major part of being a human being is love and sex. And he wanted to know that. And the punchline of the story is that he found out what love was, too.
Let my words stroke your hair, slide down your back, and tickle your belly.
I think Mark was loved very much by people, not always in the way that he wished, but I think his sense of humor, his intellect, and the fact that he was a fighter, I think made people attracted to him. And that's kind of where our movie takes off.
Is it possible for me to know a woman in the biblical sense?
Are we talking about sexual intercourse?
I think so.
There are women in the film who I think project a lot of stuff onto him, and he's just stuck lying there, you know? He's got a lovely caretaker who gets all wrapped up in her own set of ideas about who he is, you know, not really taking into account that there's a full human being there.
Amanda.
This you must have. What? What is it?
I love you.
She does really care for Mark, and he misinterprets her affections to mean more and falls in love with her, and she breaks his heart, but in doing that sort of is the catalyst to him going on this quest to find intimacy. And she does really love him, and she makes an effort to let him know that, but doesn't want to be with him that way.
Ignore my wishes and stubbornly refuse to carry out my quietest desires. I have a new attendant. She answered the phone. Her name's Vera.
Welcome, Vera.
Thank you. She's the quiet assistant who does fall for him, not in a sexual way, and he doesn't love her in a sexual way. It's a very platonic, respectful relationship.
If she does arrive, she'd be perfectly within her rights to turn around and run.
Hi, Mark O'Brien.
Hi, Cheryl Cohen-Greene. Let my words enter your mind, bearing torches.
I think what this character I got to play does is walks in and goes, wow, okay, this is a really challenging body. Let's go. So I think she actually does see him. She actually does see him and really truly wants the best for him. Nice shirt.
Is in racy and sophisticated.
You took the words right out of my mouth. What he writes in his book, which was so moving to me over and over, is just, she was nice to me. Like, that was a big deal, because he was at the mercy of anybody who touched him.
And the little bit that's left, what do I have to show for myself? At the very least, beautiful women who all love to be.
It's a universal quality to love and wish for a love in return.
I mean, I think it's easy to sort of want to champion someone like Mark. It's easy to be in his life and want to be part of it somehow, because I think just the way he lived was so extraordinary.
He got more attention from clever, beautiful women than a lot of able-bodied guys get in their lifetimes, probably without appreciating it.
Maybe this is a bad idea.
I think you've done a great thing. He could have gotten really lucky because the ladies loved Mark O'Brien. Go figure.
Would you like me to visit you?
Are you married?
No.
Do you have a steady boyfriend?
No.
Then please visit as often as you can.
Sorry you were waiting.
That's okay. You've been crying.
Oh no, I got something in my eye.
In both eyes? At the same time? Mom, why are you crying in the middle of the afternoon?
It's 5 o'clock.
Has Dad been giving you a hard time?
No, your father has nothing to do with this.
With what?
Tony. Yeah, I'll take that.
Mom, what the fuck is going on?
Your father and I were arguing about a poem.
What sort of poem?
A beautiful poem. A poem that your father threw in the trash, and I found that a very offensive thing for him to do. I mean, there isn't any harm in someone writing someone else a poem, is there? Anyway, it was the poem that made me cry. That's what good poetry does. You understand what I mean?
This is bullshit. Can we just go home?
Sure.
There are going to be some changes around here. There will be no more television, there will be no more chess, no more wheelchair basketball, no more art, and no more bingo. Is that understood? From now on, each of you will be assigned a sexual surrogate. You'll be expected to work with this sexual surrogate at least once a day, and I expect results. Is that understood?
Yes, Mr.